I'm not angry. This is passion. Nobody ever explained money to us in a way that actually made sense. Not our parents, not the schools, not the banks, nobody. And the crazy part is the system wasn't even built for us to understand it. It was built for us to follow it blindly. That's why so many families struggle. It's not because they're irresponsible. It's not because they don't care, but because nobody ever showed us how money really works, especially when it comes to protecting the people we love. Let me show you something in the next 20 to 25 minutes that I wish someone would have showed my family years ago. Because if they knew it, life would have looked completely different for me. And I'm going to explain it in a way you've never heard it before. It's going to be simple and I'm going to get straight to the point. All right. This isn't a get rich thing. This isn't an investment pitch. And I'm not here to overwhelm you with financial jargon. This is about protection. This is about structure. This is about making sure your family is safe no matter what happens. And once you understand how this works, once you see the blueprint, you're going to realize the truth. You were never bad with money. You were just taught the wrong system. So let me walk you through the family protection blueprint, the same system that changed my life and the same system wealthy families quietly use while everyone else struggles. Again, I'm going to break this down in a way that finally makes sense. The moment everything really hit me, it wasn't something dramatic, right? It was actually pretty simple. My kid had a birthday coming up and I couldn't afford to contribute anything, not even something small. And that right there was a moment that I felt completely embarrassed to a completely different level. It wasn't about the gifts. It wasn't about the money. It was about realizing I'm their father. And I can't even show up the way that I want to. My sister is going to college, the first person that goes to a university, and she's there struggling financially. She needs help. None of us, no one in my family knew or know about money. None of us had anything saved. None of us had anything put away. And all I could think was, how many more times is my family going to be stuck like this? That's when I realized the truth. It wasn't that we were irresponsible. It wasn't that we didn't care. Again, it's just nobody taught us how money actually works. Not once, not ever. We were literally doing the best we could with what we knew. But standing there in that moment, feeling like I failed the people I love, I made a decision. Something had to change. I could not keep repeating the same cycle. I could not keep depending on payday loans and tax refunds and hoping everything would just magically get better next year. I knew I needed to find a different way, a real way and something that actually worked and something that wasn't going to leave my kids in the same position that I grew up in, something that wasn't going to leave my family in the same position that I grew up in. And here's where everything changed for me. I met this woman on Instagram. Honestly, I thought she was cute. So I DM'd her, right? Just to talk. But she wasn't on that. She was all about her business, strictly about business. And at first, I didn't take that seriously until one day she said something that kind of stopped me in my tracks. She said, Marcus, do you know about the rule of 72? I said, no, because nobody had ever taught me. So she broke it down. Very simple. She said, take 72, divide it by your interest rate. That's how many years it takes your money to double. So if your savings account is giving you 1%, 72 years. That's when I felt played because I had a savings account and I thought I was being responsible when really it was just sitting there doing nothing. Meanwhile, banks take our deposits, invest them, earn compound interest off our money, and then return us almost nothing. She explained compounding, the concept wealthy families actually use. She showed me how money grows when it's in the right place and how it grows even while you're using it. That right there was mind blowing. I realized I wasn't bad with money. I was just saving my money in the wrong place. I was following the wrong system. And once I saw the difference between how regular people save money and how wealthy people grow money, I couldn't go back. That was my moment. That was my, I've never had anybody explain money to me like this moment. It clicked for me. That's when I found the new opportunity, the path that finally made sense. The blueprint I never had growing up. That's how we got to the family protection blueprint. Because once I understood how money really works, again, I realized something. It wasn't just about growing money, it wasn't about getting rich, it was about protection. Protecting your family, protecting your future, protecting the life you're working hard to build. The crazy part, here's the kicker, get ready. The strategies wealthy families use to protect themselves are not complicated. They've just never been explained to regular people in a way that actually makes sense. That's when I created what I now call the Family Protection Blueprint, a simple step by step system that shows families exactly how to protect themselves and grow safely without depending on banks, credit cards, or the stock market. This blueprint does three things: it protects your family the right way, day one. It teaches you the real rules of money nobody ever taught us growing up. And it gives you access to the same strategies wealthy families have been quietly using for decades. You don't need to be rich to use this. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need perfect credit. You just need someone to finally explain it to you the right way, in a way that actually clicks. I broke everything down into one blueprint because that's what I needed. I didn't need more financial jargon. I didn't need complicated charts. I needed a clear plan that I could follow, one that protected my kids, one that helped me understand money, and one that didn't make me feel stupid or left behind. And once I started using this blueprint myself, everything changed. Everything changed. I finally understood how to protect my future. I finally learned where money should actually go. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was in control. And when I started sharing it with other families, these were people who were rebuilding, people who were confused, people who thought that they were too late. I watched them get the same breakthrough because it's not complicated. They were just taught the wrong system. That's why the Family Protection Blueprint exists, to protect families, to teach the truth, and to give regular people access to the strategies wealthy families never talk about. Once I started using the Family Protection Blueprint for myself, something happened that I was not expecting. For the first time in my life, I actually felt safe. Not lucky, not hopeful. I actually felt safe, and I finally had a plan. I knew where my money was going. I understood how it was growing, and I wasn't confused anymore. And that right there, that alone gave me the kind of confidence I never felt before. But the biggest part, I stopped feeling like I was failing my kids. I stopped feeling like I was just trying to survive. And I stopped feeling embarrassed when emergencies came up. I could handle it. I stopped feeling like I was always one step behind. Now I'm moving forward. And for the first time, I felt like a provider, like someone who actually understood money, like someone who knew what they were doing, like someone that was building a future and not just reacting to life. I wasn't relying on payday loans anymore, and I wasn't dipping into my savings every month, and I wasn't scared of these emergencies, and I wasn't repeating the same cycles that my family did. You see, when you protect your family the right way, everything changes. Your confidence changes, your decisions change, your future changes. And that's exactly what I want for you. I want those changes for you. Let me explain how the Family Protection Blueprint actually works. And I'm going to do it in the simplest way possible because once it clicks, everything else finally makes sense. I want you to think of it like this: a savings account and life insurance had a baby. Savings accounts grow your money, but don't protect your family. Life insurance protects your family, but doesn't usually grow your money. This blueprint does both protection and growth. One strategy, one place, one system. And here's the part that shocked me. Here's the part that'll shock you. Imagine a piggy bank that lets you take your money out, use it, handle an emergency, pay for your kids, whatever you need, and it still grows like you never touched it. That right there was the moment I realized wealthy families have been truly playing a completely different game. Your savings account takes 72 years to double. This blueprint grows in a place where compounding actually works for you, not your bank. Most people drain their savings when life hits them. Car trouble, rent, medical bills, kid stuff. And every time you pull from your savings, you lose your money and you lose your growth. Wealthy families don't do that. They actually use a system where their money keeps growing even when they access it. That right there is the part nobody ever taught us. And I'm not talking about investments and I'm not talking about the stock market. I'm not talking about taking risk. I'm talking about putting your money in a place where it can grow safely and protect your family and stay accessible and never get taxed the same way. And because it's protected, your family is secure from day one. You're not depending on luck. You're not hoping you don't get sick. You're not hoping life doesn't hit you. You're actually protected. I've seen people use this blueprint to avoid draining their savings during emergencies, to cover major expenses without losing growth, get out of that paycheck to paycheck cycle, protect their kids from financial chaos, and finally feel safe with their money and actually build something long term. This is when my entire view of money changed because I realized the problem wasn't saving. The problem was where I was saving. And once you understand that, your entire financial life shifts. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the core of the family protection blueprint. Let me show you something else. The part wealthy families understand that almost nobody explains to us. It's called the spread concept, and it's how people literally make money even when they borrow it. You ready? Money sitting inside the policy might earn around 7%. You borrow against it at around 5%. You keep the 2% spread. So on $10,000, that's making $200 even while you're using the money. Compare that to a savings account. When you pull money from your savings, you lose the money and you lose all the growth it would have earned. But with this system, your money stays in place. It keeps compounding and you borrow against it without ever interrupting the growth. This isn't new. People have been using the same strategy for decades. Walt Disney, he used a policy to fund Disneyland when banks turned him down. The founder of McDonald's, Ray Kroc, he used two policies to save McDonald's from going bankrupt. Banks own over $190 billion in cash value life insurance. They don't buy anything that doesn't make them money. Regular families I work with use it too. A business owner, he used to raid his 401k, now has accessible capital without penalties. Single parents who never said before, now has over 15,000 because the system finally made sense. A teacher started with just $100 a month and now has protection and a growing savings in the same place. All different incomes, all different backgrounds, same result. The blueprint works because it's simple. Let me be candid and let me be real with you for a minute because I know a lot of you feel the same way that I used to. For a long time, I didn't think that I could ever get ahead financially. And it's not because I didn't work hard, but because I didn't know how to save money the right way. I just didn't know how to save money the right way. And every time I tried, I would mess it up. I'd save a little bit, life would happen. I'd wipe it out and I'd start over and over again and over again. And after a while, it starts to make you feel behind. Like everybody else your age is moving forward and you're stuck in the same spot. I'm not going to lie to you. Money was confusing to me. Nobody taught me this stuff. Not my parents, not the school, not one person growing up ever explained money in a way that made sense. I thought something was wrong with me. And being a father made that feeling even worse. It made it feel even worse because when you don't know how to manage money the right way, you feel unprepared. You feel like you're failing your kids before they even get a chance. I can't tell you how many nights I stayed up worried, not about being rich, not about buying nice things, but not being able to protect the people that I love. And that right there, honestly, that's the part that hits different. Because when you're a parent, you carry that weight in your chest every single day. Every single day. Here's the truth. I wish I had someone back then tell me, hey, you're not behind. Hey, you're not dumb. You're not irresponsible. You're not bad with the money. You were just taught the wrong system. When I finally learned how money really works in a simple way that I could understand, everything clicked. Everything clicked. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't overwhelming. It was just new. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. I went from I went from feeling confused to feeling confident. I went from feeling behind to feeling prepared. And man, I went from feeling like I was failing my kids to knowing that I was finally protecting them. That's why I'm telling you right now. If I can understand this, you can. If I can understand this, you can. I didn't grow up with money. I didn't have a financial background. I didn't have a head start. I just learned the truth. And when I learned the truth, I applied it. Let me show you the part that made everything simple for me. The part that, again, nobody explains. It's a true process. It's the real process. And I'm actually going to break it down like you're 5 years old. Choose an amount, even $100 a month can work. Put it somewhere that grows, not the bank at 0.01%, not the risky market, somewhere safe, steady, protected, compounding. Set it on auto pay like Netflix because if it comes out automatically, you never forget it and you never stress it. Review it once a year with your advisor. That's it. Not weekly, not monthly, once a year. No day trading, no market watching, no complicated strategies, just a simple system that finally puts your money in the right place so it can grow. Give me 1 second. Let me put this on the charger. The family protection plan works. It does. And it works because it's simple, it's clear, and it was built for real people, not financial experts. Let me tell you something, all right? In life, the longer we wait to handle something important, the harder and more expensive it gets for us to fix it later. Think of it like this. It's like you're ignoring a small leak in your ceiling. The leak doesn't just go away, it grows. And by the time people finally get around to fixing it, you're not dealing with a drip anymore. You're dealing with a whole section of damage. Protection works the same way. Not because of me, not because of the industry, but because everything in life gets harder and more costly as we age. It's universal. It's like gravity. Insurance companies don't raise costs out of nowhere. Age raises risk. Time changes the math. That's why waiting just doesn't delay protection. It literally makes the plan tougher later for every single family, no matter who you are. No matter who you are. Life doesn't pause while we try and get ready. Emergencies don't wait. Health doesn't wait. Bills don't wait. And the system doesn't slow down because we need more time. That's why we see so many GoFundMe's. Not because people didn't care, but because life hit before protection was in place. Their only option was to ask a stranger to help them survive something they never saw coming. Every family deserves more than that. Every family deserves more than that. Let me show you something that opened my eyes in a way nothing else did. Because people say, I'll start later without really understanding what later actually cost. Now, these numbers I'm about to show you represent how much someone would need to save each month to reach the same long-term goal by the age of 65. There's nothing crazy. There's no hype. It's just simple math. If you start at 30, you might need around $179 a month to reach that goal. If you wait until 40, that jumps to around $481 a month. If you wait until 50, that number jumps to over $1,300 a month. Wait until 60, and you need almost $5,000 a month to catch up to the person who started earlier. So waiting 1 year doesn't cost you 1 year. Waiting 1 year can cost you 10 years in compounding. Waiting 10 years can cost you 30 years of growth you can never get back. That's why waiting doesn't protect you. It makes it harder. This isn't about buying something today. This is not about buying something today. This is about understanding when it comes to protecting your family, waiting doesn't make life easier. It makes it harder. Nobody warned us about that growing up. Nobody warned us about that growing up. Listen, you've heard a little bit about my story. Maybe some of it sounds like yours. Maybe you grew up not learning this stuff either. It happens, right? Maybe you feel like you're trying to figure this out on your own. Maybe you just want to protect your family and feel secure for once. Here's what I do know. You deserve to feel safe. Your family deserves to feel safe. Your kids deserve a future that isn't controlled by the same system we grew up in. And I'm telling you right now, you are not behind. You are not too late. You are not stuck. You just needed someone to finally break this down in a way that actually makes sense. You don't need to be rich to do this. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need a financial degree. You just need a plan, a blueprint that protects your family the right way. And this right here, this moment could be the day your entire financial future changes. I'm not asking for you to give me your money. I'm not selling you anything. This is free. Nobody gave my family this information for free. And that's exactly why I promised myself when I learned it, I turn around and give it to everyone. So everyone can have the same chance that I did not have. So here's what I want you to do. If you're ready to finally understand money the right way, if you're ready to protect your family the right way, if you're ready to stop repeating the same cycles we grew up in, I want you to comment one word so I know that you're serious. Comment ready. That's it. Not a phone number, not a credit card. You're not filling out a form. I want you just to comment the word ready. So I actually know you're ready to take the next step to help your family. Because once you understand this, once you put this into place, your family will never have to struggle through life the same way again. Wherever you saw me, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, I want you to go DM me ready. DM me ready. And that'll tell me that you're ready and I'll help you.